And we have those that are very vulnerable. So we need to look at that parameter itself and ensure that some of them are placed on the social cash transfer.
What about agriculture and value addition? Because we did visit Mahela refugee camp, and we did see some of a few farmers engaged in agriculture.
Exactly, that's one area we are also looking at. If you look at Mahela, it's the only place where we are growing rice within Northwestern Province. And UNHCR and other partners have provided milling plants for such. So some of our people are doing well in agriculture, and it's incumbent upon ourselves as government and as leaders there to ensure that our people within Meheba also are put on FISIP, where they begin to get some inputs so that they grow more food for themselves. In the area of health as well, we need to preserve life. Our people need to enjoy good life. So what has to be done is, little investment we have done, we need to do more so that we have clinics in all the 9 sections of the camp. That's from A to H. So that at least in each one of them we have health posts and upgrade them to probably mini hospitals so that our people there have begin to enjoy life. Also, we need to allow them to be part of decision making. They need to be part of decision making within the camp so that they begin to own some of these programs that we are imparting in them as government.
But how can they be in decision making if they're only given 3 months as a permit to go and do business, of which they need to go back to the camp and have it renewed, and they don't have any documentation to present, and they're always in fear when it comes to exposing themselves to the outside world?
Sure. The more we need to look at the current pieces of registration, our laws in Zambia. What do they allow? So it's incumbent upon ourselves as members of parliament to ensure that we change some of these laws that prevail in terms of the...
Anyone can pick it, maybe Ms. Law or Honorable Kamboni, the issue to do some of the inequalities that this SDG 10 is trying to achieve? Would you highlight some of these inequalities? I know you talked about gender.
I'll talk from my constituent's point of view and the education part. You see, there has been that phenomenon that Zambia is Lusaka and Lusaka is Zambia. You'd find a classroom here is well equipped. They have got teachers, but in a rural area, the whole school, one qualified teacher. That's what we had. We saved under PF government. I would give a school like Lusumpuko only one qualified teacher, teaching up to grade 9. That wasn't fair. And so what you have asked, what are we doing to avoid these, to solve these inequalities?
No, but I wanted you to highlight some of the inequalities.
Well, they are there, yes, like in the education sectors, like I'm trying to say. You have better facilities in Lusaka and bad facilities in the rural area. So you come even clinics, even the roads, water also. I'll give you, like in my constituency, some time back, we used to have about almost 60 villages 3 years ago without any form of water. But Lusaka, somebody who have in one house, 5 taps of water. So all these are inequalities because they are in the country and they should also benefit from the cake of the country. And this is why, if you have checked now, the coming of CDF is more appreciated in rural areas. Lusaka people are not appreciating it. Why? Because this is solving the inequality that is there now in putting up facilities that can bring everybody on same playing ground.
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Lau, you'd want to comment?
Well, I think the point on the inequalities that both the honourable MPs have made are very key because indeed SDG 10 is about targeting the most vulnerable. And as you mentioned, people in the rural areas are more marginalized. They're in more remote areas where development has not yet reached. And that does create within the country inequalities. On the issue in the refugee settlements in Zambia, indeed refugees, asylum seekers live side by side with Zambians. Zambians have also been resettled and given land in the same settlements. There may be some demarcations, but people really are one community. And I think what I've been struck by is that when I talk to the hosting community, they don't really see a difference. They very much see each other as one community, and would like to see some of these inequalities that you mentioned about permits, etc., that hinder the productivity of refugees and asylum seekers in the country, doesn't allow them to contribute to the country that is hosting them, giving them a place to live, security, a safe haven. And most of them would like to do that, as you perhaps saw when you were in Meheba. But indeed, these are the areas that are less, that have not been reached by development to the extent that the urban centers have. And we see it when we work with the host and the refugee communities.
Okay. Mr. Company did talk. You want to come in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you look at some of the inequalities we have, like discrimination is life in some areas. You know, people are questioned, where are you coming from? Well, I'm coming from Angola, these are not good. You're coming from Congo, these are what? Those things are there. When you look at also the wages, the wage pattern, you know, when we get some of them to go and work probably in our farms within the catchment areas, are they paid well? Because they are refugees, probably you find that they are paid very low compared to the Zambians that are there. When you look at the migrants as well, just take these two scenarios, those coming from Congo and probably those also migrating from Ukraine war into Europe. How are they handled? So those things are also there. When you also look at the incomes of probably our countries, the poor countries, and those in Europe, they are different. So all those parameters put together surely form what is called inequalities.
All right, Ms. Law, Zambia is among developing countries experiencing high levels of unemployment rates. Now, what implication does this have on SDG 10?
Indeed, Zambia is a developing country. It has high unemployment rates. It has some of the issues that were just described about unequal access to quality education, clean water, easy access to water, clean energy. The implications of that for Zambia are, of course, as a country also hosting large numbers of refugees and asylum seekers, is, of course, how do you address the challenges of development, and not only in terms of unemployment, but the broader, because as you address other challenges of development, you will create more employment opportunities. What from our side in UNHCR and with the other UN agencies in the country, the UN SDCF, the Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework with Zambia, really does look at how do we address each and every one of these areas that create inequalities. And indeed, absence of employment, decent employment, I think, and the Honourable Minister talked about, are people earning the same? Are they being?
I receive.
Excuse me. Are they receiving the same remuneration? Are they receiving the same conditions at work? Or is there discrimination? And that, of course, is how we can work with government to bring our expertise, our resources that we try to tap for Zambia's development work. And on the front of refugees, I would say that you have really touched on a very important issue that led to, in 2018, the adoption globally to address these issues of how our countries with different economic situations dealing with forced displacement, which is on the increase globally. You mentioned Ukraine. And the Global Compact on Refugees that was affirmed by the UN General Assembly is really aimed at addressing that issue, supporting developing countries better with more responsibility sharing to really be able to support those development challenges while also being able to assist those countries continue to host the refugees and asylum seekers they host, because developing countries globally are really hosting the largest number.
All right.
And there's a strong recognition of that.
This is the SDG and U program, and today we're looking at SDG number 10, which is reducing inequality within and among countries. And we'll be able to read your text messages. The number that we are using for your text messages is 0978 772801. Now, like I mentioned earlier on, we went to Kalumbila. And before we do that, maybe we do have some text messages. So we really need to see who is following the program and what their concerns are regarding the text messages. This one comes from Mr. M of Lusaka, saying inequalities in high decision-making position is still a problem. Thank you so much, Mr. M, for your text message. I'm sure my panelists here will be able to respond to that. All right, we have another one, or we just had one text message. Let's see if we have another text. Okay, the other one reads, how are you, panel? Can a refugee work in underground mine or any other company in Zambia, or just in a camp? Thank you so much. So those are the two text messages that we've received so far. The number is 0978 772801. Like I mentioned earlier on, I'll allow my panelists to respond. But let's head to Maheba, where we took a tour just to appreciate some of the things that these people of concern are doing in refugee. Just take a look at this clip as we interacted with some people carrying out some businesses in Maheba and the surrounding areas.
Nitwa Nindorera Jacqueline.
My name is Jacqueline Ndorera.
Nkaba nubatse.
I'm married to this one.
Umugabo wanje n'uyu.
This is my husband.
Tukaba dufite abana batatu.
We have 3 biological children.
Na orphan umoja.
1 orphan.
Tukaba tuva I Burundi.
We are from Burundi.
Twashitse no muri Zambia muri 2015.
We reached here in Zambia 2015.
Tukaba tubaye ngaha mu byo kurima no korora.
We are living here in Zambia. We're doing farming.
Turafite amagadeni, turarima ama vegetables.
We are cultivating vegetables.
Apa ku Rusi turarima ibigori n'isoya.
Here on upper land we are cultivating soya and maize.
Ituma nagiye mu by'uburimyi n'ubworozi, Caritas Republic, Czech Republic yarampaye ubufasha.
We went in farming during starting when the Caritas Czech Republic gave us, supported us.
Ifatanije na UN bampaye ubufasha, bampa
In partnership with the UNHCR,
bampa umutahe w'ibihumbi 4,500.
4,500 kwacha.
Muri ibyo bihumbi 4,500 naraguzemo inkoko 22.
Among those 4,500 kwacha, I bought 22 improved village chickens.
Hama kubera poti nashyira muri izo nkoko yari y'amawuzu irokegwa cyane, ndagura utubati.
Because the pot was not comfortable on the top, I managed to buy iron sheet.
My name is Martha Nyumbu. I'm 25 years old. I'm the mother of 3. And I'm a Zambian. I've been here since I was born. I've grown up from here. And I got my support from UNHCR in conjunction with the Caritas. And I started in poultry and the agriculture. I normally sell my produce at near market and at times at Manyama. And challenges I do face when time for transporting feed. I find challenges in booking the cars, bringing the feed at home. So the thing I can just say, maybe to encourage my people who are here to be buying produce in the same place here, in support of that.
So that clip there, we had a couple coming from Burundi there, just sharing with us their experience in the resettlement, some of the businesses that they're conducting, and also caught up with a young lady there who's 25, a mother of 3, and she's doing farming, growing vegetables, and rearing chickens there. Maybe, would you want to comment on this, speak to what we're talking about, reducing inequality, the host community interacting with people of concern? Honorable Kamboni.
Yeah, because you see, what really reduces inequality is leveling the playing field. So if we have different rules for a certain group of people and different rules within the same community, then that creates really a problem. I think we need to, for me, what I see with the refugees is worldwide. We have maintained the same rules for a long time. And there's need for an uphold, because really, the lifespan of a human being, in some cases, it will go up 7 to 8 years old. And some have been here for so many years, like you say, 52 years, and maybe they are going to live throughout in Zambia. I think we really need, I'm not very confident with the rules that are there, but we really need to define them so that you see they will help reduce inequality. Because once we then make laws that support equality, then things become better. But if we leave them to chance, just nature should take course, then really inequalities will grow. But so we need to use laws that we put, policies, immigration laws, to make sure that they improve the conditions of this. Because I will know, if I've stayed for 4 years, then I can go to the next level. You see? But you can't have somebody living for 30, 50 years in Zambia, and it's just a refugee. I don't know the rules. I beg to be excused on that point. But I'm just saying the best way we can remove inequalities from what we have seen is making the rules or laws stronger, and make sure that as we make these laws, we consider that they should solve the inequalities, making the playing field level.
Honorable Mukumbi, these are your people, potential voters?
Sure.
A couple from Burundi, and for your own information, the man is a teacher. And,
exactly.
Ran away from Burundi, and later on he went and picked the family.
Exactly. I must state here that those that are in farming are doing quite well. As you can see from that clip there, you have somebody involved in gardening, the other person is involved in poultry. Those are doing well because we all want to eat. The surrounding communities and those that are within there would like to eat, but they're making some money out of that, and they're able to send their children to school. Now, we need to look at the other section of people within there, probably those from Congo. Are they good at that? The answer is no. We need to look at other avenues where they can also make some money for themselves. Because it's because of such resources that they will be able to meet certain survival needs or basic needs within their lives for us to resolve the issue of inequalities. The Congolese, for instance, are good at music. We see some of them there, performing so well. That is a line of business we can also look at, so that they make some money out of that. So, but those that are generally involved in agriculture, they are doing quite well. And by doing so, we hope that they'll be able to make ends meet at the end of the day.
Ms. Law, what programs have you put in place as UNHCR working with the Zambian government in realizing goal number 10, where refugees are also included?
Well, you heard a little bit in the clip that you just showed where both Zambians and the refugees are supported by UNHCR with small grants to improve their businesses, whether it's poultry or farming. But as they themselves so articulately said, feeder roads are huge problems for them. They appeal for locals living in the settlement to buy from them, because it's hard for them to transport their produce. It's hard for them to go out and get the inputs they need to grow their businesses, whether they're agricultural businesses or other. The rules and regulations are indeed something important, and that's being addressed. I spoke about it in very general terms. Zambia is trying to look at how to level that playing field. The projects we are involved in right now, one important one, other than these small direct grants to refugees, is on clean energy. So UNHCR is partnering with the Rural Electrification Agency to put in place access to the national grid that will really serve institutions in the Maheba area and also in the host community areas. So schools, clinics, important areas where community that serve the whole community will start to get. We're in the first phase of the project, and REA has already sort of broken ground on the project for their portion of it, and we're about to pick up our portion of the project. So this is just one example of...
Is this only applicable to Maheba or in these other
Well,
two?
at the moment it's Maheba. What we are working very strenuously on is to get some other partners on board who will help Zambia with electrification in the 3 settlement areas. But it will probably be a more solarization-based project, because we are very conscious of, well, one of the goals that is on the planet, protecting the planet. And these are ways in which you equalize access to energy as well, getting out there.
The few times I interacted with refugees in Maheba and other people, more especially surrounding communities there, what we were getting was the support has reduced. I know it's government's responsibility to take care of people of concern, but as UNHCR, in the initial stages, you were pumping in a lot of money, and it seems like the approach is slowly changing, where you want these people to be self-sustaining. What would you attribute that to?
Well, the self-reliance approach, the resilience, building that up in the communities has always been our approach. You are right, we have fewer resources. We've had a situation where the number of forced displacement crises globally, and we see them almost popping up every day. Every week you read about a new situation. These are straining the resources globally for agencies like UNHCR and our partners to receive support to continue in the same way. But in addition to that, we are not, as the humanitarian types of support may be reducing, our effort is really to bring in more and sustained levels of development actor engagement in those areas to bring about the self-reliance and development in the refugee community and the host community. And there are developments in that respect too.
There was a text message, anyone can pick it. Can a refugee work underground? Would you want anyone to comment? There was a text message.
I think he comes from
the mining community. How is the experience? I know. Would you comment?
Well, I've seen quite a number of them working. Some are even teachers and nurses and all that, but I don't know their status. But we've seen quite a number of them working in the mines and some working in the government ministries. I don't know the law. Probably UNHCR can guide on that. But from our side, we've seen quite a number of them in employment.
Ms. Law, would you want to comment?
The law does not allow refugees to formally work. They are required, like any other foreigner in the country, they're categorized in the same way under Zambian law. They have to get a work permit. And to get that, there are many boxes you have to tick if you're a foreigner. It's very difficult for refugees to tick those boxes.
And that's a major complaint that we receive. For you to get a work permit, it should be ranging 18 to 19,000.
That's right.
Kwacha.
That's right.
Which is, again, speaking against the goal that Zambia wants to achieve. How would you just put it? It's interesting. Anyway, let's see if we do have some text messages. That the number that we are using for the text line is 0978 772801. Better still, you can also like our Facebook page, the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page. Let's get to read some of the text messages that you've sent. Remember, we are looking at SDG 10, which is reducing inequality within and among countries. And my guest on today's program, I do have Mr. Harry Kamboni, MP from Kalomo Central Constituency and Chairperson of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology, and former Chairperson of the Committee on National Guidance and Gender Matters also have Mr. Nicholas Mukumbi, MP for Solwezi West constituency, and we also privileged to host Ms. Prita Law, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR representative here in Zambia. So we'll still be reading your text messages. Keep sending those text messages, the number that I'm sharing with you. And I also caught up with some people that are doing some businesses in Kalumbila district there. Like I mentioned earlier on, we toured Northwestern Province just to appreciate some of the inequalities that do exist in Zambia, more especially among people of concern. Let's take a look at this.
Bakwewa kwati tusangeko kakapto twarimu maebo momwine tuambile fye ukulima binisi na utumatawa ku ne kandolo so ku side ku kamiba side oko so after twarima wanu ye lesa tupalako twesa sanga 5 bags ya binisi na 10 bags ya mataba na kandolo yali fye yengi. So ukumona kwati uko kwene twari bela fye nchito ya business tatwabere okuikala fye otherwise twamba kubomba fye pano no maeva after twaishi bikwa na abamwenyi musolwezi because bamwenyi nga waba fye honest techi bakane okupera kago chakwe bakwachure bomba natukwata na marisiti yose tupoka kuri bamwenyi bakusenda enkago ya nkongole. Otherwise twaise sula shop twamona after ka business kakula koma yawa twamona kwachi yawe hapa i business omuntu twingi sana twambo ku expert ekukonko kuli abantu abengi.
Narifuma ku Congo ya chiba mu July 25 mu 2016 but nabutukila inkondo ku Congo province ya Yesu ya ku Congo ni ku Kivu but twarisa kuno after kubutuka inkondo twaisa mu Zambia bari tupokerera kuri government ya Zambia na UNHCR baisa tubika mu camp ya Maeba refugee turachikala mu Maeba kwachiba ifintu fire tushupa kwati life kufuaya life fire tushupa because oko twafumine takulefa twasendele twarisa fe fifine after kufika kuno kurelu ishafira fine opo twaisanga pano pa manyama twarisa mukushita business but iye shop turebomba pano bati turefu afebwa furisho kuri government na UNHCR batu afurisheko because if ni ma foreigner refugee obo turi sometimes kuri ifintu fimbi turebomba na mwenso.
Well, there you have it. Those are two business people coming from the Democratic Republic of Congo doing business in Northwestern Province, Maheva to be precise. Maybe for the sake of our guests here, talking about they came from Congo and they've had issues, and they started as farmers. That's the first couple. They started as farmers growing beans and vegetables. The little profit they realized, they invested into business, and they managed to come up with that shop. And working with the Indian communities, they're able to get things on credit and pay back after they've sold their product in the shop, and appreciating the relationship that they have with the Indian community. And the other one also doing some business, selling, and appealing to UNHCR and the Zambian government to continue helping them. And they are saying they're living in fear because they don't have any documentation. Before you respond to that, let me just acknowledge some of the text messages that, the Facebook messages that we have. We have Mr. Joyce Mola, thank you so much. Patrick Nkoma, Joe Mfuni as well. You're just registering your presence, saying that you're with us on our Facebook page. So keep liking the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page and let us know where you are watching us from. Would you want to comment on that clip? Maybe I'll start with Honorable Mukumbi, coming from that part of, these are the people that you interact with.
Definitely, yeah. You can see from the clip there that we have various nationalities. Some are very well vested into agriculture. And the Congolese there, you can see, they are more into trading. Mm-hmm. The environment is so good for them that even Indians are able to give them, goods on higher purchase, I would say, because they pay back. So it's the issues of trust. Because we've lived with each other for some time now, we've gotten to trust each other. and they are able to do farming. They are able to, like in Kamiba area there, definitely the chief had given them land for them to cultivate. So we are living side by side with each other, and we understand each other. So all this is happening because the environment there is quite peaceful.
Okay. About company?
Yeah, well, they're like, you see, also, sometimes some places very difficult to get land. Yeah, very, very difficult. So, and I think getting from what has been discussed here and what the honorable member from there is insisting, I think is we need a variety of things they can do because they are coming from many backgrounds. It's not only farming. Farming, they're doing very well, and I think it's a good thing to jumpstart them to what they want to be. And also, we just need a variety of things that they can be provided for, which I think our government and those in charge of refugees, which she stands for, should also come in and make a variety of what people can do. Because God gave people different talents, really. Some maybe they are good footballers in sports, some maybe in business. There are many ways human beings can earn a living. And I think the more we give them a variety, the better for them.
Ms. Law, there's an appeal from those two business people appealing for UNHCR to continue extending a hand in helping them.
Yes, and really with the government, we are very much looking at how we can do more than extend a hand to make them really, to create an environment, an enabling environment where the refugees and the host communities are able to really support themselves. But they both spoke about very key gaps. Financial inclusion. They have to go to probably quite far to deal with the Indian traders to get access to credit or hire purchase arrangements. And that is time they lose, and it costs them money. The gentleman from the DRC, from Congo, spoke about documentation. These are areas that we work very closely with government on. And right now, the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, which is one of our key partners on the issues around documentation in particular, they are looking at, they've done some benchmarking with our support with other countries in Africa on the best practices for documentation. So we're advancing in that direction with the government. And the government is very committed to addressing those gaps that will have the long-term, address those long-term needs so that refugees really feel that, well, now we are living very independent and self-sustaining lives. These are also gaps, if I may say, for the hosting community. And financial inclusion in particular, credit. So these are all areas that we are really hoping to package in one set of initiatives with the government.
Okay, I know, but this question was meant for the two members of parliament that I have, but I just want to provoke your mind. Being a representative for UNHCR, how can an ordinary Zambian contribute to the realization of SDG 10?
Oh, it's a big question. We all need to contribute to.
No, I want to start with you. Okay, let me start with.
But I'm happy to say what I think as a global citizen I would do or see, and I do see Zambians doing this. I hear about it on the news, etc. Companies, Zambian companies, a hiring manager. We heard about it from the Honorable Member of Parliament about, you know, how do you leave it up to the individual, but some things do have to be left to individuals to have a civic-minded approach, be focused on increasing, reducing inequalities. So they're different in each of our everyday roles. We can act to reduce inequalities.
Okay.
Yes, I think, you see, I lived in a foreign country for about 15 years. If you don't have documentation, you are really abused. And the inequality becomes higher. Those who employ you, they know you don't have any documentation, they may pay you less, and that's what makes them pay you less. They may not even pay you and go and report you and threaten that we'll report you to the immigration offices. So the key is really having good papers. And that's what I'm trying to say. The standard of the way we give papers have been there for a long time. You know, you imagine I'm living throughout my life as a refugee. We need to change, modernize them, make them quick and specific. So if they have papers on time, there's no bureaucracy, then you are reducing inequalities. But for as long as it maybe takes too long, I've seen a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to getting work permits. You apply there, they will take their time, maybe they're going to give you some after a year, after 6. All this encourages inequalities. So the more we make the system of giving papers efficient and accurate, then we are reducing inequalities. Because those who have papers, then they can have a voice where they are being employed, you see. So if you don't have the documentation, then you have surely, you're going there for abuse, you know. And I think they should also find ways, meaningful ways, of helping these people, jumpstart them to making their lives better. You see, the world is funny. If oil spills in the sea, they quickly respond, man will be found to clean up that oil for fish in the sea. But with the refugees, maybe because we have lived and nobody really wants to, you know, it's like a by the way thing. I think we need to change how we govern, because the world has got enough wealth to keep every human being very comfortable. If indeed you look at how much money they're spending now in Ukraine war, in all these wars, billions and billions. And once a war comes in, they all come in and get all this money. But we don't do the same when it's human life. I think we need to improve the lives of refugees as well. And those who are able to, let's help them with things that can make, you know, generate quality to their life. And the more money you have, the better you lead your own life, the more things become equal to you. So if you are not, then equality is promoted.
The time we got to Northwestern Province, and we did see the most vulnerable affected are women. And we did see quite a number of women seated trying to do formalities, registration as refugees. And how can a member of parliament like yourself hosting a refugee camp be able to help these mothers? Because their life, it's just something else. I'm sure my director will be able to run some of the clips that the clips that we got when we got to your constituents, Honorable Mukombi.
Sure. It's true. The most marginalized in the camps and surrounding areas are the women and children. Working with our various partners, such as the NGOs that are within the camp and outside, the local leadership of the chiefs and admin, we are all the time sensitizing our people on best practices, on how to live side by side with one another, on how to prevent all forms of discrimination. Well, people are discriminated in these camps. It's a fact. Based on their age, sometimes based on their sex, sometimes based on their race, sometimes based on their level of education, and all those things. So we try by all means to ensure that we promote good brotherliness, so that people can be able to look at each other as contributors to development, and not necessarily this one is a woman, or this one is a man, or this one is that. No. For now, I think we are promoting the gender equality issues. And this is going on not only from government side, but also from UNHCR and many NGOs. So that is right.
Before I bring in Ms. Law, let me get to Mr. Kamboni. How are you working with traditional leaders in helping realize goal number 10? Because they're very critical when it comes to realizing goal number 10. When we were in Northwestern Province, at least we had the privilege to interact with the chief there, Chief Mumena, and very insightful discussion that we had. But I want to hear from you, from the southern part of the country.
Yeah, well, if you're going, I mean, 80% of my constituency is really rural. But if you are going to do anything in rural areas, we have to work with the headmen. And the headmen have quite been exposed. Non-governmental organizations have helped. I have a chief who is quite very well knowledgeable. He's a former PS, my chief. So he's quite very well knowledgeable and well exposed. So that has really helped. The headmen really are really trying, like girl child now. We don't have those problems where because we are gay, you can't go to school. So the inequality is really, I think they are trying their level best. And sometimes I feel Now they are going more to the headmen than even the town people. Yeah, and workshops that are there, they go to these people, but they're quite well knowledgeable. Of course, yes, you see some discrepancies here and there, some inequalities, which you also see even in town. But like I said, as a member of parliament, what I have tried to do through the use of CDF is really to take a lot of facilities. Like you'd find one school like Namabondo, there wasn't even a single desk. And I had to bulldoze to make sure desks were made before the grade 7 wrote the examination. And desks were provided. We're providing many classrooms, clinics, we're building maternity wings, and really interacting with them. And this is really, really helping a lot.
Honorable Mukombe, quickly, before we run to the text messages, I know we're running out of time. We do have a live committee coming in a few minutes' time. Maybe quickly, your working relationship with the traditional leaders in Northwestern Province in realizing goal number 10.
Great. Karumbiras for chiefs and quite a number of headmen. The 3 chiefs by law are members of the council, so meaning they sit in the council. So we are planning with them. They pass registration and bylaws for the district. So because they are there, it's easy for us to interface. It's easy for us again to go together out there and sensitize our people. The chiefs are giving out land even for the refugees that are there. You heard in a clip there. The chiefs are doing that and the headmen. And this is making all of us work as a team and make all of us live as one. We are also involved in identification of vulnerable people through the chiefs, because the chiefs know who is vulnerable in the community. They know who is, child-headed, what is child-headed home. They will know which one is a female-headed household and all that. Okay. So working with them, it's helping us so well that we are able to reach out to all the vulnerable communities and ensure that through CDF and other government activities and programs, they are also catered for. So in that form, we are reducing inequalities.
Let's get to our text messages. The number is 0978772801. Let's see some of the text messages that we've received. This one coming from Piscuvia, Chichi, Lukulu in Western Province. Good morning, panel. We are together and enjoying the show. Thank you so much, Piscuvia, for that text message. Let's see if we do have another text message. This one is coming from Mr. J. M from Lusaka. Equality must be demonstrated by good governance. Thank you so much. The other one, achieving Sustainable Development Goal SDG 10, which focuses on reducing inequalities, requires addressing disparities. Effort should be directed towards promoting inclusive policies and equitable access to resources. Thank you so much. The other one coming from Mr. Victor Mubongo. Good morning, panel. I think looking at today's topic, it's clear that the government should engage these people in different activities, just as we do as Zambians. They need to be contributing to the country's coffers and as well. Thank you so much, Victor Mabungo there. Let's see if we have another text message. Mr. Matthew from Kitwe saying, morning, Posent. Try to educate us citizens on SDG 10. What is it? What are the benefits? This is coming from Matthews. Thank you so much. I'm sure you joined the program a little late, but my panel here did highlight some of the benefits that will come with these SDGs. Looking at time, I know we can go on and on, but what could be your concluding remarks? I'll start with Honorable Kamboni regarding SDG 10.
Yes, a country that does things on equal basis, where all the people are enjoying the resources of the country equally, will develop faster. For us to develop to be a better nation, to improve the standard of living, we need to operate at the same level. Equality must be really something that we should achieve, all of us. Yeah.
Okay. Coming from Northwestern Province, I know as we conclude, there are some projects that you've embarked that also cater for refugees in that part of the country. Yeah,
through the CDF, we have embarked on the electrification of some infrastructure, like Meheba Secondary School, which was built in the 80s during the Kaunda time. we have put some resources there, and trying to ensure that the learners there do study also in the night, because the school has had has not been connected to the national grid. We are also providing grants to our people within and outside the host communities. Loans as well, the cooperatives, we are doing that. Some of them have formed cooperatives, and they are benefiting from that. We recently received quite a number of teachers, 400 plus, and 30 of them were deployed in the refugee camps and the hosting communities. The nurses as well, we received about 15, and they were deployed in there. We have Mwafwe Road Bridge to encourage trade,
Okay.
Yeah, so we quite a number of projects that are going on in support to our refugee, people.
Ms. Law, your concluding remarks, is this SDG attainable by 2030?
I think our work to continue to try and make it attainable globally is critical. And in Zambia, that's our work here to support the government of Zambia's efforts to achieve SDG 10. And I think we've spoken about some of the areas. I would just add by saying that I think it is very pleased to hear the discussion on gender equality. And I think if women are listened to more, I think our path to SDG 10 will be a smoother one, and we'll make some important achievements by listening to women more, especially in the more marginalized and remoter areas of the country.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Honorable Kanbon, is this SDG attainable? Just under a sentence.
Well, yeah, we have to work, like she has said, we have to work towards attaining it. We're still quite far,
Okay.
but it depends on how much effort we put, but it's attainable. We all need equality, really.
Honorable Mukombi?
Well, 2030, yes, and partly no, because of the resource envelope. Rome was not built in a day, and development is like a relay. So we'll do our part. When we get to 2030, we'll try and review which one has been attained and which one has not. But we should all strive to ensure that we meet some of these SDGs come 2030.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our viewers and our listeners out there, for your time just to be part and parcel of today's SDG and You program. My guest on today's program had Mr. Harry Kamboni, MP, Kalomo Central Constituency. He is chairperson of the Committee on Education, Science and Technology, and former chairperson of the Committee on National Guidance and Gender Matters, Mr. Nicholas Mukombi, MP for Solwezi West Constituency. And we also had Ms. Prita Law, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR representative. I must say thank you so much for finding time and to be with us on today's presentation. I should also make mention that tomorrow we'll be live at the same time as we look at SDG 11. My name is Paulson Tendovi on behalf of the entire production crew and my sign language interpreter, Chola Kaoma. It's bye for now.